Welcome. I'm Ann Yoshida with the League of Women Voters of Glenview-Glencoe. I do not live in Wheeling Township, so I don't vote in any Wheeling Township elections. This interview is brought to you by the League of Women Voters of the Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, Buffalo Grove area. The League of Women Voters is a volunteer, nonpartisan, grassroots political organization. In our over 100 years, we have not endorsed or opposed a candidate. Our mission is to empower voters and defend democracy. Candidate interviews encourage informed voting and active participation in government, and they increase understanding of major public policy issues. The League of Women Voters of the Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, Buffalo Grove area supports 6 suburbs of Northwest Cook County, including Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, Buffalo Grove, Wheeling, Prospect Heights, and Elk Grove Village. As a unit of local government, a township's main emphasis is on the human services needs of a community, as well as the roads and bridges in the unincorporated areas of the township. By Illinois statute, the township supervisor is the chief executive officer of the township. They are a voting member and chairperson of the Township Board of Trustees. Their primary duty is to administer the General Assistance Program. The General Assistance Program is a state-mandated, locally administered public financial assistance program to help eligible residents meet their basic human needs. They also act as treasurer of all township funds, including cemeteries, receive and pay out funds, have numerous financial reporting responsibilities, and are the ex officio treasurer of the road and bridge funds. Following a referendum passed by the voters in the township for a community mental health board, the Wheeling Township Mental Health Board was created in January 2023. By statute, the township supervisor is responsible to appoint volunteer residents to serve on the Community Mental Health Board who are representative of interest groups in the community. With me tonight is Maria Zeller Brauer, the Democratic candidate running in the April 1st consolidated election race to be the supervisor of the Wheeling Township Board. We have asked the candidate to give a 90-second opening statement and to cover in it her qualifications and experience, what she wants to do during the term of office if elected, and what she wants the voters to know about her. She will also be asked 6 questions and will have 90 seconds to answer each question. Each candidate has received the questions in advance, and a timer is being used. We have also asked the candidate to give a 1-minute closing statement. Candidate Zeller Brauer, please begin your opening statement.
Thank you, Ann. And thank you to the League of Women Voters for providing me with this opportunity to participate in this interview. Again, my name is Maria Zeller Brauer, and I am running for Wheeling Township Supervisor. I have lived in Arlington Heights for about 11 years with my husband and my 10-year-old daughter. I grew up in the Chicago suburbs with parents who instilled in me the importance of serving your community. My dad was a small business owner and was very active in our church. And my mom was a parent educator for at-risk families with young children. So in a way, I'm kind of destined to give back. For 25 years, excuse me, I was a nonprofit fundraiser with a focus in healthcare and social services. 2 years ago, I left full-time work to care for my family and for my mother-in-law, who recently became wheelchair-bound. I consider myself a pretty resourceful person, but it's been a struggle to meet her needs. And I can only imagine how hard it would be to find proper care if you didn't have the appropriate resources. So it was around this time that I began to research the programs at Wheeling Township and noticed their gaps in funding and providing services to our community. So in my nonprofit work as a grant recipient of Wheeling Township, I've been to their funding meetings, and I have colleagues whose clients are on wait lists with the township. So the need is there, and the amount of funds that are sitting in their reserves, the funds are there too. They are choosing to go against the will of the voters and not properly fund these services. So it's time for progress. Thank you, and I hope to earn your vote.
Thank you very much. And now we'll go on to the questions. Our first question is, what do you see are the top challenges facing residents, and how do you plan to address them?
With my work in nonprofits and during this campaign, I've heard from residents that some of their top challenges include affordability and accessibility. As the Wheeling Township Supervisor, I will tap into my current relationships with other government and community agencies to provide appropriate services without having to increase spending. We will increase our outreach for senior residents and make applying for assistance for things like property tax help, healthcare, and transportation easier, ensuring that they're able to stay in their homes. And we will make our services more accessible by updating the website to provide information in multiple languages, expanding service hours, and hosting events off-site and in the communities where our constituents live and work. The township also recently had a needs assessment conducted by Harper College. The findings showed that there are significant barriers to accessing services, particularly for those who are low income, non-English speaking, or people with special needs. As the township supervisor, I will make increasing community outreach and accessibility a priority while partnering with other agencies to keep costs down.
Thank you very much. Our second question is, what is the most important role of the township supervisor and why? You will have 90 seconds to answer the question.
Thank you. I think the most important role of the township supervisor is to lead with empathy, respect, and transparency, while actively engaging with the community to ensure that all residents have a say in our local government. They also enable the township staff and the volunteers to provide critical services to our community members. And lastly, they work closely with the other board members to provide transparent, fiscally responsible budgets and accounting to ensure that our tax dollars are being spent wisely. So when I think about the kind of supervisor I would be if elected, I think back to a township board meeting that I attended where a member of the board insulted an elected official who spoke during the public comment portion of the meeting. Supervisor Penner did not speak up during the meeting, nor did she reach out after the meeting to apologize to this community member. As township supervisor, I will not allow members of our board to treat members of our community with disrespect. This includes our elected officials and those who come to us at their most vulnerable. I will insist on respect for all, regardless of political affiliation, income level, or ability.
Thank you very much. Our third question is, what do you see as the function of the Mental Health Board? And how do you plan to address funding that function? You will have 90 seconds to address this question.
Great. Thank you, Anne, for that question. So in a 2022 survey that was conducted by CNN, 90% of Americans felt that we were in the midst of a mental health crisis. And as I've been out meeting with voters, they agree that there is an increased need for mental health services. So in the Harper College needs assessment that I mentioned previously, they found significant needs for mental health services in Wheeling Township, particularly in the areas of substance use disorder and services for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So the function of the Mental Health Board is to use their expertise to review applications from the local mental health service agencies and make funding recommendations to the board to fill those unmet needs. And as you know, in November of 2022, a majority of voters in Wheeling Township supported a referendum to establish this community mental health board and levy an additional tax that would cost the average household about $35 a year. As supervisor, I will follow the will of the voters and levy that tax for those services. It's also important to note that most of the current members of the Mental Health Board lack any professional mental health experience. And as supervisor, when those positions are available, I will appoint a mental health board that has a diverse range of professional mental health qualifications. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our fourth question is, Illinois has many levels of government that seem to overlap. Is there still a need for townships in local government? You have 90 seconds to answer the question.
I agree that there is a need. Townships are the oldest form of government in the United States, with the first township established 150 years before the Declaration of Independence was even signed. It's the most grassroots form of government where constituents have a direct voice in the affairs of their government, and they're encouraged to express their voice. And as many of us are concerned about government spending and property taxes, township governments ensure that your tax dollars stay within your community. Now, by law, like you mentioned, and townships have to do three things. They assist with property tax assessment, they maintain roads in unincorporated areas, and most notably, they provide general assistance for our most vulnerable residents. Townships provide for those who don't qualify for federal and state assistance and would otherwise fall through the cracks. In addition, many people who need assistance are on Medicare or Medicaid. And in my work in social services, I know that finding Medicare and Medicaid providers in our area is increasingly difficult. Providing these services for residents in need keeps our community safe and helps everyone thrive. A safe and successful community means higher property values and more people contributing to our economy. So township government is really the best investment of our tax dollars.
Thank you very much. Our next question is, how do you view the balance between property taxes and services funded by the township? You have 90 seconds to answer this question.
I get this question a lot, and I think we can all agree that no one really likes to pay taxes, but without them, we would lack the services and infrastructure that makes our community so great. Investing in our community and leveling the playing field for those in need are not handouts, but they keep people out of poverty. And keeping people out of poverty keeps our community safe and thriving. Wheeling Township can provide the most efficient and effective use of our tax dollars. So currently, less than 1% of your property tax bill goes toward the township, but we need to be spending that money wisely. The current township board has approximately 130% of its budgets in reserve, which is way too high. In addition, the township's charitable fund, which provides emergency funding and supports the food pantry, has more than $820,000 in assets, yet they showed only 4% spending of those funds in their most recent reports. As township supervisor, I will bring our reserves to a more appropriate level and ensure that we are providing services without raising taxes. And lastly, as supervisor, I will investigate and implement more creative ways to fund our programs through strategic partnerships and grant funding. This will ensure the longevity of the township while keeping taxes down.
Thank you very much. Our final question is, how will you ensure transparency in township board decision-making and accountability to the community? You have 90 seconds to answer this question.
Thanks, Anne. As supervisor, I will bring Wheeling Township back to its grassroots way of governing by making information about our budgets and our services more accessible to more people. We will update our website, make it more user-friendly, support multilingual formats, and provide more information about our application processes. Meetings will be live streamed or recorded, with all meeting materials being made public online. Hours will be expanded to accommodate our community members who work during the day or need transportation. And we will get out into the community so that we can hear directly from our constituents about their needs and concerns. In addition, I will encourage robust discussion among the board in public meetings, particularly when it comes to budgets and spending. The entire Democratic team brings a wealth of diverse knowledge and expertise in many areas of finance, policy, and social services that will have a positive influence on the work we do for the people of Wheeling Township.
Thank you very much. Candidate Zeller Brauer, please begin your closing statement.
And thank you again, and thank you to everyone with the League of Women Voters for the opportunity to speak with you all today. My 25-year career in nonprofit leadership makes me an ideal candidate for supervisor of Wheeling Township. My extensive experience in organizational budgets, community partnerships, and working with social service providers will make me a strong yet empathetic leader. Under my leadership, Wheeling Township will get back to its mission of neighbors helping neighbors. Our mental health board will be fully funded and staffed. Community education and partnerships will be made a priority, and technology will be used to make Wheeling Township more transparent and user-friendly. So we need progress from Wheeling Township, and I hope I have your vote on April 1st. Thank you.
Thank you very much for participating in this candidate interview.